Desk of Ladyada.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another night of Desk of Ladyada. It's me, Ladyada, the engineer, and with me, of course, is the floating skull of Phil.
Well, the skull's inside me.
Well, yes, but it's your still skull.
Yeah.
Subset of skull. Anyways, we're just doing a Monday musings. Sort of maker business, maker manufacturing. I'm going to do some hardware design, and you're going to chit chat.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna try to
do your nails.
Help change the world through our stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
So should I jump into the engineering? How do you want to structure this?
Well, let's first let's go to the overhead.
Okay.
And on the overhead, what are we gonna do tonight?
Okay, so
what are we gonna do?
The good question. Last night we talked about like Raspberry Pi hats and how we wanted to make some smaller hat-like things that were Pi Zero size that could work with the Raspberry Pi 3 and 2 and A plus and all that good stuff, but be the same size as a Pi Zero. And we came up with the word bonnet. That was your brilliant marketing insight.
Well, we'll talk about that in a bit.
We will.
We have some logos and some wanted to show how we came up with some names in the past.
Okay, so yesterday I designed. Let's see, we did. The Charlieplex bonnet, so that's a 16 by 8 Charlieplex LED matrix. That'll be really beautiful. And we also did the radio bonnet that would allow somebody to add a LoRa or an RFM69 radio. So I think the LoRa gateway in particular will be a fun project. So we did that one, and I can show those off. And then we did the speaker bonnet that allows you to add stereo I2S audio output, like Class D 3-watt audio output. So that's pretty sweet. Those are 3 useful things. And then Philby actually designed another bonnet while we were chatting today, because he said, there's so many people building this eyeball project, these really cool animated eyes, that he ported it to the Raspberry Pi because he wanted to be able to use OpenGL. He wants more shading, and so he designed a bonnet for people to use if they wanted to make these pie eyes, I guess is what you'd call them. Mm-hmm. And then tonight I was gonna just design one live rather than showing off one that I did, because I was at work at it today, and I don't actually get to do engineering as much at work. I do engineering at night.
Well, I'm gonna catch up on some news.
Yeah.
We have some maker business news. We have some milestones happening. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. We're gonna try this kind of. It's not a daily video thing. It's just like whatever we're doing. We also got the latest copy of QST.
Yeah, that just came in. I'll flip through that.
Some of our stuff's in this. This is amateur radio. So we'll show that off too. But We'll see. We're just going to try it out. Okay. Okay,
so today I was going to, one of our most popular feather wings, this is for the feather line of boards. We have the Blue Fruit and the Huzzah and all of those good things, is the OLED feather wing. By far, like, #1 most popular add-on. Because it adds text and a couple buttons. And so I talked to you today about this, and we're like, yeah, let's add OLED. But the thing about this is 128 by 64. And the reason it's that size is because that's the feather is very thin, and so you can't fit, like, this is a larger OLED, and you can see it's too big. It won't fit in between. Also has to wrap around. It won't fit between the headers. And so for the feather, I was kind of fixed. Like, this was the only OLED board that we could find that was a good match. So this is 128 by 32 pixels. But for the bonnet, this is the Pi Zero, which is kind of the same size. What's nice is actually, I think that I'll be able to fit the 1.3 inch OLED, 128 by 64 pixels, and then have a little bit of space on the side as well, and maybe add like some sort of joystick on the side. And I also have these SMT joysticks, but we'll see what we can fit onto here. So this is like a little joystick. Maybe we'll have 2 of these. I don't know, or maybe 1 of these, and then some buttons. I just dropped the cap for the cap didn't really snap on very well. So maybe this would be a way of making a really adorable little, display, like a little game joystick type thing. So I thought that's what I would design tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, why don't you start that up?
Okay.
And we'll switch back to that every once in a while. And I'll give you some of today's news, things that were interesting to us, things that we discussed together, and we're just like, we should just, turn the camera on.
Okay.
So let's go to your screen.
Yeah, so I'm going to.
Alright, so you're
Yeah, so these are the bonnets I've got so far. So I'm trying to think, what should I do? I
the
think
Charlie bonnet.
I think what I'll do is I'll take the OLED board and then I'll back port it. I mean, like I always like to start with an existing board. So this is the 1x3 OLED.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this and then I'll just cut away everything I don't need. All right, so that's what I'm doing. This is going to be the 128x64 mono OLED bonnet.
Okay.
Okay, so what's up with you?
Well, I guess I'll go to the screen. I'll go to you in this.
Okay.
Okay, so first off, I want to spotlight a cool maker that we're Twitter fans of.
Mm-hmm.
And she's done some cool projects. So this is on Twitter, Real Sexy Cyborg.
Yeah.
So here she is. She's working on a project. One of the things that was on her image, how do you pronounce that?
Imager?
Imager?
I have no idea how you say that. I say imager.
Yeah.
Imager?
So, all I've seen is people with 3D60 cameras. She's one of the few folks who actually used it at Shenzhen at the electronics market. So I have a little clip of her video. And this was just me panning around real quick. So if you have the goggles, or if you have a phone and you watch it on YouTube, you can look around on this.
You love 360 videos.
Well, I like the potential, and
Okay.
and I like when they make sense.
Do you know which camera she used?
Well, I don't want to say it's the Theta, but it seems like it's the Theta.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I can look at I could probably find out. The resolution is pretty good, so it might be better than the Theta. So anyways, she did a good job with this because this is the type of thing, it's immersive. You want to be able to understand, like, wow, there's so many electronics going on, there's so many components, and just the sheer volume of the floors and floors and floors of electronics is incredible. So that's really neat. Now I gotta give some encouragement to her.
Yeah.
Because I saw some stuff on Twitter and I didn't like what Redditors did, and I didn't like one of the titles on Hackaday. And so one of the things, so she had just posted, I guess, the infinity skirt, and so this is the infinity skirt. You saw this project, right? We talked about this.
Yeah, this was cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
There's like 1,000 infinity mirrors.
Yeah.
Being worn.
And we did a project with this, and we thought this was really cool. We're like, oh wow.
Yeah, we did a NeoPixel strip one a while ago.
Yeah, and this combines all of our favorite things, fashion and electronics, and of course
LEDs.
Of course, someone on Reddit's like, yeah, the worst layout in the world, totally offset and asymmetrical. I want a screen and slapper. All the work ends up looking like crap. So, hey, welcome to electronics. r/electronics. So Reddit has a bunch of work to do. If they're gonna bring in more people.
Yeah, because like our electronics really knows fashion. I mean, if you look at any fashion show, the most avant-garde fashion is all asymmetric.
Everything.
Like, and the first thing you learn in art school is to not be symmetric.
Everything that I wear that's interesting is asymmetric. Like the things that are like, oh, like zippers and like all sorts of things. So, anyways, I just noticed that the electronics community, the maker world, still isn't. There's been a lot of progress, but we still have a lot of work to do. So this was an example. This was a little bit of a Twitter back and forth. So Hackaday posted, "Bachelor builds enormous laser cutter, nobody complains." And it says, "Nothing says swinging 21st century bachelor pad better than a laser cutter." Well, actually, there's more than just bachelors. What were you when you bought a laser cutter for your apartment?
I was a bachelorette.
Is that what a bachelorette is?
No, it's
okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what I
was
really,
just a person.
Yeah. So what I really like is Real Sexy Cyborg. She called it out. She's like, hey, because we know all women hate tools. Nudge nudge, Hackaday. And the build was great. David Randolph, who did this, did a really good job. But it didn't need to be like, why is it a guy? So the laser cutter story that I have, the one that's my favorite, is when you bought a laser cutter in cash. Epilogue didn't even believe this was happening. you wrote a check. This was when you were a tiny company, and we were at a very small apartment, and we started doing laser cutting, and you were the person I knew that knew laser cutters the best and the most, and no one said this bachelorette does this. It was always this weird woman, this lady, whatever. And when we would do videos online, it was always like, lady, take your shirt off or something. I remember I had to ban people in the comments when we did live videos when we first started doing Ask an Engineer, like almost 10 years ago. So I think that if we're gonna have a really big group of people that share projects, we have to be a little bit more supportive and encouraging. So Real Sexy Cyborg, don't listen to them. If you need help with getting your videos out, let us know. Here's a cool video that she did. It shows her 3D workflow. So check this out.
So this is my printer. It's a bit old and only one extruder is working at the moment, but it does the job. I find the key to successful prints is to keep it simple. So I only use PI and only 2 brands, a cheap one and a good one. Mostly I print on this special plastic called PEI. Sometimes I use blue tape though.
So she later got 3D scanned and she printed out a version of herself. So anyways, I think this is neat.
I love our handkerchiefs.
Yeah, and this
Cute.
is a maker to be celebrated. So anyways, let's try to do a better job, everyone. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I wish someone would have said this stuff to us a while ago, or we had more support. So this is why I think we can use our show and our videos for stuff like that. So
Okay.
next up.
Okay, well, I got the OLED in place, so that's
Yeah.
what I've done. You want to look at this?
Yeah, no, I just went to the computer.
Okay, so this is the, I put the OLED here, and here's that, the bonnet PCB. And there's a couple of, passives, but I'll just stick these up here, because whatever. So now the question is, what do I put on this side? And,
I voted.
you voted, so you want to look at the 2 options?
Yeah, I thought it would be a good game controller, but
So so here's the 2 options we have. We've got a little analog joystick, and we've got a clicky 5-way joystick. So this is a button joystick, right? It's GPIOs. And I'll be honest, this one's a little bit easier, but I was like, hey, well, what do you think? And you actually said, no, I really like this SMT joystick as well. So this joystick's only 20, 30 cents. So maybe we'll go with this joystick thing. It's very simple. It's got 6 pads. Common, and then you'd have 5 pull-ups, and I would even connect this to the Raspberry Pi and just use 5 GPIO. Why not? You've got lots of GPIO on the Raspberry Pi. Why not spend 1 per? For you have an input in button, and then maybe we'll have buttons on this side. So let's go to the PCB, and then maybe I'll do the EVQ
yeah.
buttons. So these look like. So do you want them in a diamond shape?
Well, I think as long as they're
Or do you want just 1 and 2? I can do
yeah,
this
as long
and
as
this.
they're self-documenting as far as the look of them being game. Yeah, that's nice. Game controller
Or should you think
No, I like the staggered.
staggered, but staggered this way?
Staggered the other way. The first way you had it. Yeah.
Okay, so this way
Yeah.
and this way.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay. And then I need to find out if I've got the
Do you have room for an ADC so you can use an analog joystick?
well, we don't. I could, but Phil voted against the analog joystick to begin with, so no analog joystick. He wants a digital one, but you know what? That's fine. It'll be lower cost. Adding an ADC would add $1 to the bill of materials. So going all digital, And this is kind of cute. You can kind of see how you'll have the little OLED and 2 buttons.
I feel like you threw me under a bus there a little bit.
No. I'm saying that you picked correctly, because if it was an analog joystick, it would have added a lot more cost.
Yeah.
So I told you that. I was like, but this is analog, you'd have to have an ADC, and you said, no, you actually like the little clicky joystick more.
I like the clicky joystick.
You just skipped to the end. Like, why even, we don't have to have 5 meetings with
Yeah.
engineering change orders. You just are like, just do this one.
Well, we don't have time.
I don't have time.
We seem to make some pretty good choices sometimes.
The only thing
Someone
is,
wants an accelerometer.
maybe that could be interesting, like a list 3DH, so you'd have motion as well. It's an interesting idea. The only thing is this little mini joystick does not seem to have a part, so I'll have to draw it. Okay, so what else is new? Well,
Okay.
look up stuff.
Yeah, so next up, so I wanted to do a history of some of our pie efforts, plates and hats and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, when the pie first came out, we made a pie plate. And we open sourced, we used a CERN license. And this was the logo we came up with. It's pie plate. And
Cute.
yeah, it's cute. Looks like, very clear Raspberry Pi. And then when pie hats came out, we made, these are the hat logos that we did. And these are cute.
Yay, yeah, I like the third one. Third one was the...
Yeah, and then the end result was this. But, the Pi Foundation has specific things with hats, and it has to have an EEPROM and these little specific holes and locations. And there's fats, that's Pi Moroni, and plates, and capes and shields. Doesn't seem to be what we're working on now. There was nothing that quite fit it. We didn't want to call it a Raspberry Beret because that was Prince, and I feel like that'd be weird to do that. And so we came up with bonnet. So these little, feather wing-like things, I guess, are bonnets. And we're working on some logos and some ideas. So I don't want to get all designy, but like this is one of the things on the mood board. This is a bonnet. And I think this is from Blue Apron, or Blue, what was, let me look this up. I don't want to say Blue Apron, it was something else. It was Blue something. It was Blue Bonnet. Did you ever hear that brand?
Not like butter or something?
Yeah,
or?
Blue Bonnet margarine.
Margarine. Wow, margarine. That's totally not made anymore. So this is the SKQU. Let me see if I don't think I have to make this part number.
So, we're just getting some ideas now on how a bonnet might look, what it might be like, and more. So that's some of the stuff that we're working on as far as the logos that goes with it, because we also want it to look good on a PCB and more. So if you look at the hats, like, we had some good ideas of plates. Those are, it's iconic enough where even in black and white it works pretty well. Design's important to us, even an open source company. So speaking of, oh boy, that was a good segue.
Well, what's up? What's new? Scared me for a second.
Your old friend, John Maida, is now working at WordPress. Automatic.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is one of those times where it's like, I just write news for you, and I guess the world will watch it. So we have a Maker Business newsletter, adafruitdaily.com. No spam. We'd never spam you or anything like that. It's a separate domain. All sorts of stuff like that to be super duper clear. So every day I post something, or you send me something that we think is really interesting in the Maker Business world. And last week there was a bunch of CEO changes. There was funding, things that came in for 3D printers. And so John Maida is now the global head computational design and inclusion at Automatic. That's the makers of WordPress.
That's Matt Mullenweg, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so here's a quote. And I'll just get rid of us on the screen. So Maida is now the global head computational design and inclusion for Automatic, maker of WordPress. He's one of the highest profile design people in the world. I wrote that, it's true. And he said the absurdly beautiful freedom that comes with open source. That's kind of nice. So in his, I don't know if it was a Medium post or it looked like Medium, but it was like a blog thing or something. Hope it's WordPress now. Yeah, look, man, you gotta design that dog food if you're gonna design it. He wrote, at some point in my career I stopped caring about open source. I don't know exactly when, but I know when I met Matt Mullenweg just a few months ago and he told me how much he cared about open source. Well, at first I didn't get it, then after a while I frankly felt a little guilty. He talks about how he was at MIT in the 80s when open source was just starting to take hold. It felt super hippie and decentralized, and it called him back. And then he goes on to say that, so when Matt offered me the opportunity to join Automatic to serve the open source mission and get to work with interesting folks from all over the world, 50 countries to be exact, to head design, I thought to myself, how can I refuse? And it got even better when his title was chosen by him, Global Head, Computational Design and Inclusion, because he wanted to do 3 things, and he goes into that. So,
yeah, I did not have time to read this article yet. I was going to read it tonight, so I'm glad you gave me the executive update.
And then I posted links to all of this. Wired wrote a thing, John Maida's next gig, design kingpin of the open web. And then one of the neat things that Maida posted was a quote from the Automatic site. We don't make software for free, we make it for freedom. That's really cool.
That's a good phrase.
And here's but wait, there's more. One of the cool things that Automatic does, which is kind of what we do at Adafruit, it's neat to hear some of these things. We want to make sure people respect all the different roles, so we have people start and make sure they really understand the company before they do other roles. And Maida's description of his new role is vague, but the first few days at Automatic, seeing him sweating the details. He's doing a 3-week stint as a customer service rep. Automatic calls them happiness engineers and requires every new hire to spend time in the role. That's really cool.
Interesting.
So we have folks do shipping and gathering and a whole variety of things. Kitting really depends on the role and the position. But it's really important to us that everyone kind of gets it. Like the company was just Lamar and I for a while, so we did all the roles, and we think that was really helpful as we grew as a company. And I think you appreciate all the details that goes into someone's job when you've done it. So I think it matters. And plus you get to know the company and the culture more. So that's neat. In the history of, I guess I'll say, Maida, you were at MIT, and he was an advisor or professor. What was he for you?
He was not my advisor, but he was the advisor of friends of mine. Rich, he was Rich's advisor during Rich's master's in graphics, and of course processing came from ACG, which is his group. Noah was in his group. There's like a whole bunch of people.
Okay, so you knew this guy?
Yeah. No, he was around a lot. He also had hired my advisor, Chris C. I believe that he was like the direct hiring person. I mean, I don't know the details of the Media Lab hiring process, but yeah, I talked to Maida. I took his class I took a class or 2 with him on simplicity and computation at the Media Lab. I didn't get to take a lot of classes at the Media Lab, which is interesting because the way that my degree was structured, actually I take most of my classes at MIT, but the classes that I could take at the Media Lab I took with him and with other creative people.
So we've watched Maida in different roles because he's always like design guy, like he's like there. Mm-hmm. So he after MIT he went to RISD, and I forgot the event, but I remember when the person, what event was it? Because someone said, Maida, was it one of the Hopes? I don't know, but Maida became one of the important people at RISD, and we had sent an email. I don't know if he got it, but it was the email address that we were given, and we said you should hire Tom Igo. He works at on the Arduino project.
Yeah, NYU ITP.
And NYU ITP. You could probably have the whole Arduino project at RISD for if you start now. And that never materialized, and we didn't get a reply or whatever. We said this is a good thing. This was like 6 or 7 years ago, and what a different universe that would have been to have one of the Arduino team members go to RISD because it's right now Tom Igo's at NYU and David Mellis was at MIT, and so Arduino was tied to a couple of schools, and it would have been interesting to see if it could have also gone to RISD for a bit. So anyways, then after that he did, was it a venture capital group? And I don't know if they disclosed which ones he suggested, or which ones.
Yeah, and he said he's on the board of a couple, but I don't.
I think Sonos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the Sonos store, which makes sense because they have this crazy design store in Soho. So I have a feeling that maybe he said, "Hey, I have a crazy design store in Soho." So this move for open source is kind of a big deal because every time you install like open source software, how it kind of looks crummy.
Yeah.
Like the fonts are always weird and everything. Like all the buttons don't work.
Tickle TK, somebody's
It's
involved.
always a little
QT.
crusty, and for that aesthetic is cool with us, but there's always this talk about open source needing to be more designed or more approachable or more lots of things, and it'll be interesting to see kind of if aliens land and they said send us your designers, like Mida might be one of the people we send. That'd be weird, but I don't know what fantasy world I'm living in where the aliens land and they say send us the designers.
Yeah.
Although, the question is, do you send them or is it a trick? Or anyways, so I think it'll be interesting if he's going to travel to 50 countries and talk about open source and how beautiful the freedom is, and then start talking to the people who make the open source software and hardware and talk about the design of it. Like, I've always considered you an artisan designer. I'm not sure if other people do. You weren't considered an entrepreneur until you got Entrepreneur of the Year, so who knows what is accurate at this point or what the perception is, but it seems like having someone who's been on the cover of design magazines and taught at design schools and tech schools will probably be able to talk about design to open source folks.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, smart move by Automatic. I think it's cool.
I think it's interesting. I mean, WordPress, we run WordPress.
Everybody does.
And people skin it, and the thing that, it actually makes a lot of sense because the thing that it's known for is its simplicity and power of configurability, right? That's kind of what it's known for. Yeah. So it makes sense, I think, to have him help them because it's like they're kind of the killer app of open source. It's worked out very well. They have a very good model.
Yeah, and the app publishes too, which I really like. So I think something like 28 or 29%, I guess, of the web is WordPress, and it's open source.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Someone will correct me in the comments if I'm incorrect.
I think he said in there.
So that's some of the news, the Maker Business News. In Adafruit Maker Business News, or just news in general in Adafruit, we have a milestone. Ready, Ladyada?
Yeah, hold on. SKQ. God, this is
15,000 users of Adafruit IO. And the other stat that we just got.
Yeah. 15,000. Wasn't it 10,000 2 weeks ago?
11,000 online feeds. So 15,000 users and 11,000 feeds. So I don't know if there's any other Maker Internet of Things services. I don't know what the stats are. I've looked. I don't think anyone's publicizing them. What I do know is we have 15,000, and that's quite a bit, and we're still just getting started. So that's kind of cool. Other news is our learning system got an update. So you'll notice a couple things different. On the outside, we can add an item to the top of the page. So
yeah, I noticed this. I noticed this today while I was checking through Todd's IO tutorial, and I was like, "Hey, why is there like a I thought it was a screenshot, but then I moused over it and I was like, "Hey, this works." And then I was also looking at his text, and I saw like a little typo, and I just wanted to fix something, and I realized that his text was not the normal text editor, but was in Markdown. So it's funny. the developers who love Markdown. So I don't use Markdown. I'm kind of.
I like all the updates. So the big ones I noticed.
But they do, and they were like willing to write the code to add Markdown support.
Yeah, and I like the ability to have the kind of the main product there. People have asked for that. They're like, oh, like I see it on the side, but like I just want to know what to buy right there. That's good. And then the Markdown. Can you go to the Learn site?
Yeah,
and show me some Markdown.
I did, but I created this nav switch.
Oh.
So this is the SK. This is the nav switch that you and I both like. I'm not throwing you under a bus. We both like this nav switch.
This is the only live engineering maker celebrity Internet of Things show.
Yeah.
That has 360 videos from
and
someone we like in Shenzhen. This is, and then iconography. This is the only show like it, I think.
Yeah, this is cool. Okay, so so this is the nav switch, so up, down, left, right, and center push. So I went through and this is kind of weird. Oh wait, this is from PC. Oh, whatever. We'll figure out which way is which. Switch. What is like switch mounting face? What is that, forward or backwards? Who knows? So this is the layout of the switch. This is the one that I've got samples of, but I kind of like this nubby version, so maybe I'll ask to get the nubby version. Okay, so it's this one, and so I added that to EagleCAD, and then I just dropped that in here. So like that. Pretty cute.
This is like a PlayStation Portable, not really. Looks like one.
I think this is going to be cute, not too big.
Yeah.
Very easy. So I guess the only question left is whether I want to use I2C or SPI. And there's trade-offs with that. With I2C, it's very easy, but SPI, I think there's FBTFT support. And I think the FBTFT support is worth putting that in. Like, you could actually have it be like a little console. Like, you would actually be able to log in. Which is a little ridiculous, but...
I mean, but if you're... It might be useful. I mean, like, it's a little Linux computer, so...
It is a little cute.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so this is the design so far. So I'll route this sometime. But, okay, so 5-way push switch and 2 buttons.
Yeah.
You're into it?
So, yeah, someone said if you change it the other orientation, it's easier to go. But I think that this way is easier to go, where your thumb is... I mean, you play way more video games than me, but...
Usually the D-pad is on the left. And the switches are on the right.
Yeah, but no, these are like that.
Let's look at...
What do we look at?
I think the Game Gear had 2 buttons. So they did it bottom left, yeah.
Okay, let's switch them.
Look.
And that's how engineering's done, folks.
Whatever the Game Gear says.
I think that if Game Gear did it, it's probably a good hunch. I mean, we'll think about it after.
Look, we'll also we'll grab this and we'll try it out and we'll see which one we like.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Next.
Okay,
up.
so that's that. So.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
You wanted me to go to Adafruit.
Oh right, go to Adafruit. Go to Adafruit.
Learn.
Go to Learn and show Markdown.
Okay, so this is the guide. So
Yeah.
I don't write Markdown. So for example, this is an ad
so
product.
Todd did it in Markdown. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so this is, you can edit this.
Yeah,
this is a product.
But that we
This
know.
is his Markdown.
Okay, so yeah, this is what Markdown is, folks who don't know Markdown.
I do not write Markdown. I used to do all the tutorials in Wiki.
Yeah.
And I got so sick of it that I just kind of
So
refused
I'll tell you
to.
why Markdown's kind of fun, because you can just do it in like a text file and then you're done.
If you I wish I could have learned it, but I was fighting the power. So instead I never learned. I mean, I actually think Markdown is a little bit better than Wiki because it doesn't have the URL. The URL's a little cleaner. Like you have this little number, and at the bottom you put the URL. So that I think is actually a saving grace.
You do have to scroll up and down a lot for stuff when you're using an editor like this.
But you could also just write, and then you put the links in second, which is what happens anyways.
Yeah.
So you write as normal, and then whenever you want to put in a URL, that's you have it at the end.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
Yeah. Anyways, it depends. You know what I think it comes down to? If you use a keyboard a lot, a mouse a lot, or a combination of both, and if you're writing tutorials and you're doing things and you're kind of creating it as you go along, I think the WYSIWYG stuff that we have is really good. But if you kind of have it all in your head and you're just doing like a very fast like
Yeah.
text down. Markdown is really good. Okay, so that's what we got going on.
Okay.
So that's
all my
behind the
news.
scenes. Yeah, that's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 minutes, 35, so I want to keep it to 30 minutes. That's it.
Okay.
Let's get out of here.
Later.
All right, that's it. Please, everyone who's watched the show, do me a favor. Just tweet at Real Sexy Cyborg and just say, hey, like your content. Welcome to the maker world. Adafruit's really happy that you're joining this maker world. Anyways, and then we'll see everyone.
I'm gonna finish routing this board.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a bunch of work too. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Later, everybody.
Zoop, zoop.